honestly, man, I think Baltimore, you talked about the turnover and how it's not getting talked about. Like, that is a team where I'm just kind of like, what is there? Like, I understand Lamar's good, but there's really nothing else there that scares me.
Maybe we can run this back. They don't factor into me. I'm to the point. I know like the analytics people losing their minds over that every year. Look, sure. I'm sorry. They don't. Can I curse on your podcast?
Sure.
They don't win shit.
They don't.
Like, what are we? I mean, I'm so sick of people like, well, in the regular season, they've been the best. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Great. They're the Atlanta Hawks with Joe Johnson. Congratulations.
Well, that's a shout. That's a good shout. I like that.
I mean, like, who cares?
They're Paul Millsap.
Yes. Like, congratulations. You're the Jazz. Like, I mean, at what point are you going to win a game that matters? Because you punked Houston, fair enough, blew them out. Take nothing away from that. They beat the piss out of Houston. They played the Chiefs in their building in a game that, go look at the articles at the time. Everybody thought, they're going to win this game. They're going to handle the Chiefs. No problem. Tooney's out. Matabike is going to go nuts. All this stuff. The Chiefs went out and scored 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives of that game, and they scared the shit out of Baltimore. I mean, you want to just plain as day say what it was? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Baltimore got freaked out in that game and completely came out of their game plan, and the Chiefs ate them up. And, like, to me, look, there's no shame in losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I'm not trying to make it out like they lost to, like, some knockoff BS contender. But you're at home. You're at home. You're the number 1 seed. The Chiefs last year were not a great team. They weren't. Now, they were by the end of the season, by the end of it all, like, you could say, hey, look, they picked it up fine, but they were not a great team. That was the worst team Mahomes ever played on, and they somehow won the Super Bowl with it. But, like, and it's not, sometimes when you criticize the Ravens, people take it inherently as like you're criticizing Lamar. And then, like, the fangs come out. It's like, look,
of course.
2 things can be true at once. If I had a vote last year, I would have voted for him as the MVP of the league. I thought he deserved it. I thought it was a weak MVP year, but I thought he deserved the MVP award. I thought he was the best player in the league last year at the most important position. You want to argue McCaffrey? That's fine. Can have that conversation. Allen, the last half of the year, I thought was the MVP. The first half of the year, for me, disqualified him from being the MVP. But the point is, I thought Lamar Jackson last year played really well. But Lamar Jackson in the playoffs has not played well. And to sit there and defend that is just stupid. It's intellectually dishonest. He has not played well in these playoff games. If you go back and look last year in the fourth quarter, they were in that game. He threw one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see.
Triple coverage in the end zone was hideous.
I mean, and look, 3 guys were ready to pick that ball off. I mean, if Deion Bush doesn't do it, 2 other guys would have done it. Like, it's one of the worst throws you'll ever see. And you can't sit there and go, well, he was let down by his defense. They were great in that game.
They were.
He had 17 points. They gave him that ball a million times over. I think Lamar's a wonderful player. He is a top 5 quarterback in the league for me. He is going to probably end up in the Hall of Fame. I have no problem with it. That being said, they as a collective in that era have pissed their pants in the biggest spots. And until that changes, like, as much as I don't think Buffalo's a Super Bowl contender this year, because I think they are in a little bit of a transitional phase, I would pick them to win the Super Bowl before I pick Baltimore, because I have seen that team in big games have huge performances. Now, to be fair, my problem with the Bills in the playoffs has nothing to do with the quarterback. It has to do with their defense.
Yeah.
That defense has gotten lit up over and over and over and over by Mahomes and Burrow in playoff games. And to me, until that changes, like, why do I think any differently of you? But I would believe in the Bills more in a playoff game than I would in Baltimore, just based on recent history.
I agree with that. We can wrap it up here in a minute with this, but Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in this era, they've had a playoff game each against Buffalo and Kansas City. Yep. They scored a combined 13 points in those 2 games. Yep. Like, it's just not going to get the job done.